I want to give you guys this lesson. I saw a lot of people had some difficulty with the interview lesson, and so I want to give you this lesson here today. And I expect you guys to not all get it, and that's fine. Give you this lesson here today that will show you what we're trying to accomplish. So I've already done my interview, and I'm going to take the interview right here and lay it in place. In fact, I've done some pre-work. What you'll see is I have something called markers, and I'll show you how to lay a marker. But I put some markers in to kind of make this quick, and I also recorded my my voiceover work. And so what I'm gonna do here is, because I've already made my marks, I went in, I played this for myself, and I found the things that I want. I'm going to do what you normally would do, or what you guys are, right now trained to do, and go ahead and make my cuts for the things that I want. And I got a mark here, it looks like, because I can't see it that well, because I'm old and y'all not, I'm gonna make it a little bit larger and get right in there and make this cut right here and here. And that might require some cleaning up later. And then I'm going to come in here and do this last one right here and here. And now I'm going to go back, taking my selection tool, and I'm just going to go and delete the stuff that I don't want. All right. I'm keeping that part that was inside the mark. I'm killing this, just making sure. Yep, delete that part and delete this part. So now, and this one here, I have cut out a bunch of stuff that I didn't want. And I have, if you look, I have these actualities just sitting here. Okay, so now I'm going to take, and I believe this is what I read. Drop this in place. So this was my script. That's all I believed that to be. Don't like that. And if I just hold this right here, you see it turns into a little bit of a L or a bracket, and I can do that and get rid of it that way. There's an old saying, necessity is the mother of ingenuity. That is, when you find a need, you often create a solution. Solution finding is the lifeblood that fuels so many men and women to start their own businesses. Maureen Jones was on a personal quest that became a passion for business. Okay, so that's kind of what I want. There's a couple little bumps and bruises in here I want to correct. And that is, when you find a need, you often create a solution. Solution finding is the lifeblood that fuels so many men and women. So that doesn't feel good right there. I don't want this. Right? So, ripple delete. So let's take a listen to that now. Lifeblood that fuels so many men and women to start their own businesses. Sounds natural. Maureen Jones was on a personal quest that became a passion for business. And this is where my actuality goes. I have it written in my script that way. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find the why business clip. Right. So look, I made my marker and I found the why business clip. I'm going to drag the why business clip back right to here. And I'll move this clip over here. We're almost there. So let's see.
Well, I initially got into the business.
Now you see something? This is blazing hot compared to this. See, this is. Maureen Jones was on a personal quest. That's in pocket, but watch this one.
Well, I initially got into the business.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the volume and just pull the volume down. Maybe to about a -3 roughly. and let's see what happens.
Well, I
We can probably bring her down some more. And you can see it in the waveform. This waveform is huge and this is different. Recorded in two different places, two different mics. My cell phone microphone and then my studio microphone. Cell phone, studio. So what we'll do is we'll just pull this down some more. And you'll play with this until you kind of get it to feel right. You may never get it to be 100% perfect, but you want to try to make it feel close, right? You don't want it to just be blaring and two different sounds. I'm looking to be right
well, I
here.
initially got into the business.
Wow, she's still big. She's still a lot. So if I come down, this is a lot of pulling it out, but that's okay.
Well, I initially got into the business
I'm
just
happier
searching
with that.
for solutions for my own health, wellness, and beauty experts, and health and wellness, and I just have a knack for it, and just finding my own solutions, I was able to help other people that were looking for the same issues and concerns that I had challenges with.
And despite the slow start and a global pandemic, she found a silver lining. So we left that actuality and said that she had a slow start and a global pandemic that she was dealing with, but she found a silver lining, right? And so this time, I actually have two things that I need to use to build this up. Okay. So I'm going to go here and just leave this out here in space for right now. And I want to go to I've had a boom post pandemic. So if I double click that, here we go. I've had a boom. See how it's already highlighted. So I'm going to bring this back right on the heels of this. And I'm going to bring it down, right? Because we already know that it's hot. And so let's listen. She found a silver lining.
So, I'm one of those businesses that have just had a boom or surge post pandemic. During the pandemic, and we still are in one, but just.
Right? So we still are in one, but just. And then she's kind of like, there's nothing else being said, right? So let's go to the last one and see what this one is and play
I
that.
think the main thing is that, like, especially during the shutdown, um, it just gave people a chance to sit down and be still. Um, and because of that, they were on social media quite a bit. And then there was just a big push and a big awareness for self care, which I think a lot of times in our community, that's just something that's just not taught from young to as you get older, it's just not taught. I think.
So now we got this clip, and we're going to just take this clip. We're going to butt it right up against that other clip right here. And I think we may have to do another little edit because it's they're not exactly the same thought, but they support the same concept. And let's take a listen. So she comes out of adjust and she goes into some other little conversation. Sorry. I still have my marker highlighted. Apologize. So let's go back over here one more time. And let's roll out of this clip into the next.
And we still are in one, but just I think the main thing is that, like, especially during the shutdown, um, it just gave people a chance to sit down and be still. Um, and because of that,
So let's take a listen to what we got.
Post pandemic, during the pandemic, and we still are in one, but.
So I may go here.
Businesses that have just had a boom or surge post pandemic.
And I may take this out. So I'm going to take it back to here. And then I think I can slide this about right into there. And this is rough now. But the idea is.
Businesses that have just had a boom or surge post pandemic. I think the main thing is that, like, especially during the shutdown, it just gave people a chance to sit down and be still. Um, and because of that, they were on social media quite a bit. And then there was just a big push and a big awareness for self-care, which I think a lot of times in our community, that's just something that's just not taught from young to as you get older. It's just not taught.
Now I'm gonna end my story right here. I'll put this here. That's the last word she says. This is the first word I say. And I'm going to drop that right up there, nice and, not too tight, but tight. Let's see. For more information, 1-555-1212. I'm Maynard Scales. Great. So now I've done that much. I'm going to go ahead and clip this at the end and end it here. And that's the end of it, right? That's the whole thing. Now, what you also should do is you should say, oh, this is Maureen Jones. I'm just going to change this name to Maureen Jones. I'm going to change this to voiceovers. All right. That way you know what you're working with, right? If you wind up in a scenario where you have, 100 clips or 100 tracks, you don't want to be searching all over the place. Okay, so when you look here and see, like, man, and most times when you open up your multi-track, Mr. Scales only got 6 tracks in the mix track. So what are you talking about? You got 100 tracks. You may have to come up here and just add tracks based on the kind of project that you're working on. Okay, and that's what you may have to do, and that's how you may wind up with a few hundred tracks or something like that. So this certainly isn't exactly what I wanted it to be, right? There's some more editing. I don't want to make this too long of a project, but this is the idea on how it goes. I have my voiceover. I did whatever editing my voiceover required. Then I took the actuality from the person, dropped in a bridge right here, then came back to the remaining actuality. In fact, I took 2 ideas that were in support of one concept, that the post-pandemic, there's been an increase in business. And they were from 2 different parts of the actual interview and butted them together. I'm not changing what she said. I'm not, creating a new scenario that she said something that doesn't exist. I just found those things and they supported one simple concept, and then I ended this here. This is my out. I created all these little shortcuts for myself so that I could know where my pieces were. So I just deleted my markers. You see that they left from above the script. So now I have a pretty tight script, and let's see, where are we at? It's at under 90 seconds. It's a minute and 28 seconds and some frames, if you will. And that interview that I actually conducted with the person was 5 minutes long. You can see it says right here, spot interview, right? This is the original file, is 4 minutes and 50 seconds in length, right? And but I've turned this 4 minutes and 50 seconds into a 90-second interview that's now digestible for radio. Let's play it. There's an old saying, necessity is the mother of ingenuity. I started off big. This thing, necessity, right? When people need things, they get creative. That is, when you find a need, you often create a solution. Solution finding is the lifeblood that fuels so many men and women to start their own businesses. Now I'm about to get it a little bit smaller and narrower, focused in on exactly what we are talking about. Maureen Jones was on a personal quest that became a passion for business.
Well, I initially got into the business just searching for solutions for my own health, wellness, and beauty experts, and health and wellness, and I just have a knack for it, and just finding my own solutions, I was able to help other people that were looking for the same issues and concerns that I had challenges with.
Here's a bridge. Despite the slow start and a global pandemic, she found a silver lining.
So, I'm one of those businesses that have just had a boom or surge post pandemic. I think the main thing is that, like, especially during the shutdown, um, it just gave people a chance to sit down and be still. Um, and because of that, they were on social media quite a bit. And then there was just a big push and a big awareness for self care, which I think a lot of times in our community, that's just something that's just not taught from young to as you get older. It's just not taught.
For more information, 1-555-1212. I'm Maynard Scales. So you can see right here, I had a little pickup or a bridge between these two ideas, which gave me an opportunity to drop another actuality in place. So now we're done, and we want to get it into the station and then get on air or whatever the case may be. We're going to come here and go to File. We're going to go Export. We're going to export the entire session. When we do the multi-track mix down, export the entire session. Now, let's just back up. Imagine if I had this. I hit File, I hit Export, multi-track mix down, and it's going to say entire session or selected clips. If I hit selected clips, it's only going to export just this clip. So make sure you're doing the entire session. Now I have this spa interview, and I'm going to call it spa interview WMAURRENJONS with Maureen Jones, right? I'm going to find a location for it to go to. I'm going to put it right here in the spa interview folder. I hit save, and I want to make sure that it's an MP3 file, right? If it wasn't already MP3, then you would change it, right? You would change it. You don't have to change a whole lot of anything else, right? You would change your MP3 here, right? So make it could have been WAV. You would make it MP3, and then you go in here. You can make it the best quality or highest quality, what have you. That's great. But you don't have to go quite that far. Just right here, and it's 192 kilobits a second. Constant bit rate, meaning that it's always going to be 192 kilobits a second. It's not variable, that which is best. And we're going to hit OK. It's going here. This is the name. This is the volume that it's going to, so I know where to find it. I hit OK. A couple of seconds goes by, and it's finished. I'm going to go look for it. There it is right there. There's an old saying. It's a minute and 17 seconds or whatever, a minute and 20 seconds. And it's done. And that's the end of it. So that's what I want you guys to do. And I'll send you or email you the finalized script for this so you can see how the script is written as well. All right? All right, gang. Thanks. I'll see you in class next Tuesday.